yeah, and thank you to those of you who sent me Ko-fis, etc., super chat, bought merchandise, and my merchandise is on my Ko-fi page. I put my Ko-fi page up. Thank you, as I say, to those of you who've bought merchandise so far. I'm having my coffee this morning, and I'm not in the mood for twonks today. Mug. Yeah, so thank you for your emails, thank you for your nice comments, thank you for every positive way you contribute to my channel. It's so much appreciated. So, okay, the trouble is I don't personally think it's true, and I was watching Brian Enton. He doesn't think there's any sort of true basis to it, but we'll talk about it anyway. It's important. Is Nancy buried in Mexico? You know, is she? That's what that's a tip that came in. Let me find it. I've got it prepared there somewhere. No, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. No, it disappeared as usual. So let me get the video back up that I wanted to show you. So apparently a tip, an anonymous tip, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Sheriff Nanos trying to take the heat off. So, let's show you. It's underway. So apparently a search is underway. Let's have a look. Of the proximity of where Nancy went missing is so close to the Mexican border. I think it's only an hour. Because it's so close, there's always been some sort of conjecture, isn't there, that maybe Nancy was taken over the border to Mexico and disposed of there. And you know, it's just as possible as every other theory, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day, we don't know what happened to Nancy. So, you know, she could be in Mexico just the same as she could be anywhere. Problem is the world's a big place. I still can't believe to Mexico they've had to take her in. What do you think? I know there's a few that she might be in Mexico. There's been rumours about that, haven't there, right from the beginning? Because, as I say, because of the proximity to the Mexican border of Nancy, where Nancy was living in Tucson, Arizona. But the thing is, where's the vehicle that took her? You know, and who took her? What was the purpose of even taking Nancy in the first place? You know, this is the crux of everything, isn't it? Why? So supposedly for a ransom, but no ransom has ever been paid, you know, or were the ransom notes like a cover for the fact that Nancy was taken for other reasons? Nancy was targeted for other reasons, that the intention was always to dispose of Nancy and then make it look as if it was a kidnapping. There's always that possibility as well, isn't there? So anyway, this video is going on, so I'll read it. Not, you know. So yeah, the thing is, if you Google Nancy Guthrie, what comes up is about this anonymous tip about the. So Nancy Guthrie map shows new search area after an anonymous tip about her body. A group of volunteers of Savannah Guzman about 70 miles from Nancy's home in Arizona. So the anonymous tip has injected fresh urgency into a case that has remained unsolved for more than 4 months, as investigator lead. Sorry, it's pop up. Accept cookies. Follow a possible cross-border lead, which suggests that Guthrie 84 may have been buried near the Arizona, Mexico. While they must not be died and have not turned to pursue credible investing in the suspected abduction and possible movement outside the United States enters a critical new phase. A surge of crosses has global attention on the case. The tip pointed investigators to a remote stretch. Volunteers working with a Mexican search collective have scoured land near the US-Mexico border, focusing on a rugged area known as Mariposa. Oh, Mariposa, that's one of my favorite words in Spanish. It means butterfly. After receiving detailed information claiming that Nancy may have been buried there, and the tip has triggered a large-scale search effort, but so far it has produced no answers. And authorities say the investigation into Nancy's disappearance remains so just a reminder, he went missing on the 1st of February, 4 months ago. 84 can't imagine anything worse, really. A masked man. So this is the man that was seen on the CCTV. This is likely what Nancy woke up to in the early hours of the morning. That face looking over her, you know. And despite the video, the photos, nobody has come forward to say who this person is, or as far as we know. I mean, it may well be that the FBI's got someone in their sights. We just don't know. They're not saying anything. Obviously, the FBI never say anything, do they, until afterwards, you know, until a case has been solved. Sheriff Nanos, he said a lot, but none of it of any relevance, really. None, you know. So the point we're at with Sheriff Nanos is apparently he doesn't speak to the Guthrie family anymore. We don't know why. Yeah, he's not in contact at all with the Guthrie family, the FBI, dealing with the sort of kidnap note, and now they've got the DNA. Because one hair was found, wasn't it, that, you know, is possibly from the perpetrator. The thing is, a lot is made of this hair, and what will the DNA turn up? We don't even know that it was from the perpetrator, do we? So was Nancy kidnapped? Then, and this is her family. There's a lot of shade being cast on Annie, one of her daughters, and her husband, Tommaso. But there's, you know, the sheriff said that all the family and spouses were cleared, but we don't believe anything that he says. This is Cameron, the son. You know, not a lot is said really about him. And of course, the famous daughter of Nancy, a lot of people are saying that may be to do with Savannah Guthrie, that Nancy was taken because she is the host on the Today morning show in America, which is a very popular show. It's some sort of pay for her, you know, kidnapping her mum. Also, Savannah was involved in the Epstein files in the sense that she interviewed the survivors of the Epstein files. And a lot of people are saying that, is it to do with that? You know, is it like a retribution or to distract him from attention from the Epstein files, which, you know, still nothing's happening, is it? People are talking about the Epstein files every day, but no arrests are made. It's just crazy. It's the whole thing. So is this kidnapping of Nancy or disappearance of Nancy connected to Savannah? Or is it someone with a grudge actually against Nancy? This is what we have no idea. Did somebody owe Nancy money and decided the best way they didn't have to pay it back would be, you know, kill her? And then, of course, we have the prime suspects, if you like, or people that were detained. There was a guy called Carlos. I haven't got a photo of him up here, but I must put one. See, so a guy called Carlos in the very early days, with a delivery driver, he was detained and released. And then, of course, Luke Daly, he was retained and released, or detained and released. Very striking when he had his interview with Brianna, that he changed his appearance completely. You know, to me, this still feels strange, but no charges have been brought against Luke. He wasn't even arrested. He was only detained, questioned. His house was searched. His car was searched. Why? We don't know why. We know with the guy Carlos, the first guy, it's because he's a delivery driver, and I think his phone might have pinged in the area. But Luke's, when Luke was arrested, everybody thought this is it, they've got the culprit. But no. So, you know, he was released without charge, and yeah, what can we say about it apart from that? But is he still on the police radar? We don't know, because he hasn't been cleared officially at all. Hi, CT53222. Hi, Daniel. Good morning. Happy Friday. So, yeah. Yeah. It's just, so forms on, really. We don't know anymore, with, you know, apart from all this drama that's going on behind the scenes. So I'm trying to think what to look at, because we're going to, as I say, we're going to look at, I mean, what do you think? We'll look at that first. Hey, what do you think about this YouTuber thing? So in the beginning, everyone was camped out outside Nancy's house, weren't they? You know, all the media, because they're expecting an imminent arrest or an imminent development. Then when the war started with Iran, that, you know, all the media, mainstream media attention deflected to that, talking about that. So it actually emptied out the you know, a lot of the mainstream media, off they trotted, and you just have a few left. You have no mainstream media left, and only YouTubers, streamers, but still quite a few of them. And then as time went on, because then Nanos, he decided that nobody could park along that road. You know, he's made it as difficult as he can for anybody to stand on a public road. Just to me, I just think, whatever you think of Alex Zabel and his, you know, whether you like him, you don't like him, or you think it's terrible that he's there, or you think it's good he's there, at the end of the day, it is a public road, and America prides itself on its freedom. You know, in the last video that I did about this, I read out the Star Spangled Banner, you know, the land of the free. Doesn't feel very free. is really when you can't just stand on a public street without being arrested. So let's have a look at this latest arrest. We'll try anyway, if the computer will let me. Now I'm going on to X. I'm going to this account on X. Adrienne F. Now, we're going to watch the arrest. And there on X, she sharing very clips, I've noticed. I'm rubbish with clips because, well, my computer's not very good anyway, but even if it was, I'm not very good with clipping things. Like, she's very good with short videos and things that she clips from bigger videos. So yeah, she's definitely worth a follow on there if you're interested in true crime. Okay, so let's see this arrest.
All right, guys, let me get my notebook. Let me get my notebook.
Hello, sir. How you doing? Put the cigarette out for us.
Sure.
Stand up.
For what, sir?
Because it's a direct order.
On direct order. Okay, but before that, can I have your name and your badge number first?
Okay.
You're under arrest. You guys, what am I under arrest for?
Drop the cigarette.
Hey, what am I under arrest for? Dude!
Stop it.
Don't do it. Hey, I want to know what I'm arrested for.
Get on the ground.
What am I under arrest for?
Get on the ground.
What am I under arrest for?
Get on the freaking ground.
Look, I didn't shove him down. What am I under arrest for?
Why?
Do you know what I mean? Now, see, Alex is a big guy, and he is asking them what he's under arrest for. They should be telling him what he's under. As I say, I think this has gone past whether you agree with Alex or you don't agree with Alex. That could be anyone. You ask the police what you'd be under arrest for, they're supposed to tell you. They've been told by Sheriff Nanos to go there and arrest him. But what for? What for? He's standing on a public street. Now he's going to get proper charges because he'll be now charged with resisting arrest. But resisting arrest for what? And then the guy falls over. And this has been reported on mainstream media that he pushed the guy over, but he didn't. The guy fell over, tripped and fell over. They are, well, I don't know. Let me know what you think. I just find it a bit, I don't know what the answer is. Basically, what this comes down to is Nanos doesn't want him to be there. He's not complying. He's going there because, as far as he's concerned, that's his right as a free American to go there, which it is. And so Nanos is saying, no, it's not. It's come to like, let's go back and look. It's come to like a battle between Nanos and Alex.
I'm not even fighting you. I want to know what I'm arrested for.
Get on the ground.
What am I under?
Get on the ground, they're saying to him. Now, let's just remember that an 84-year-old woman was taken from her bed in this neighborhood and kidnapped, and nobody saw anything or knows anything. 4 months later, nobody knows how that happened. Also, let's remember that in Pima County, because the thing is, Alex lives in Pima County, so he actually lives in that area. He's not coming in from a long way away. There's lots of drug crime. There's homeless people living in tents. There's lots of robberies. There's all sorts going on. Alex said that you drive past the bus stops, people are shooting up fentanyl at the bus stops and things. That's the real crime that's going on in Pima County. Meanwhile, Sheriff Nanos is obsessed with this. He's determined. It is like that Rambo film, the sheriff from Rambo. He's determined Alex is going to go because he doesn't like Alex. Now, Alex is an intimidating figure. He's full of tattoos. He's got a checkered history himself. I'm not, but you know, that doesn't mean you can be arrested just for doing nothing. You know, and I've watched Alex a few times, and there's sometimes I really like his streams and that, and then he does get carried away, swears a lot, he says things he shouldn't say, but isn't that free speech? I don't know. You know, honestly, what do you think? I'm sort of confused about it. But one thing that I'm not confused about is somebody should be allowed to stand in a public street if they want to, even if they are making videos or whatever. And this is heavy-handedness. You know, when you think that there's real crime going on and they're wasting their time doing this.
Arrest for?
Get on the ground.
What am I under arrest for?
Get on the freaking ground.
Shove him down.
Comply.
What am I under arrest for?
Comply.
I will.
I
didn't shove him.
So the mainstream media were reporting that he pushed the policeman.
Look, I didn't shove him down.
Comply.
What am I under arrest for?
Comply.
God, you know what? I'm just expecting someone to get a gun out at any point. You know, like they're so heavy-handed about it. Now you can see Alex is a big guy, and he is resisting arrest. He is resisting arrest, so they will be able to charge him that. But then haven't they got to prove what they were arresting him for first?
I will, but what am I under arrest for? Fucking ass! Don't twist me. He's putting a cuff on me.
Knock it off.
He's putting a cuff on me.
Relax.
Tell him you're putting a cuff on me.
Relax.
Don't twist my fucking hand. You guys, get someone out here to get my stuff. I don't want them taking my shit.
Oh, look, they've got back up now. So what, we're going to end up with 4 sheriffs there to arrest one man who's just standing on the street, while in the meantime there's proper crime going on all around, but they've got enough sheriffs to go and arrest this one man. I think they're doing the wrong thing, but I think it will play into Alex's hands because, you know, Alex, I saw him saying on his stream, as far as he's concerned, is that if it keeps people talking about Nancy, he's happy about it. So look, he's recording all this. This is going to go viral, isn't it, really? And, you know, he will profit from it, from his YouTube. I don't know how will a judge look on this, I wonder? You know, when it comes to his arraignment, because he's got an arraignment coming up, when it comes to his court case, what's the judge going to make of this? Is this a legitimate arrest? When they're not even telling him what he's been arrested for? And now you've got backup coming? Just seems like, to me, it just seems like overkill. But I don't know what the thing is. It's Sheriff Nanos wants him to go, and he's not complying with going, is he? The other streamers haven't gone back there because 3 streamers were originally decided he's going to go back there. Well, he's on all the news, his pictures on everywhere, so probably his channel will blow up. You know, I just don't understand why they're so determined to get rid of him.
Sir, Can you please make sure my stuff's picked up?
Morning, Julie. What do you think of all this? I mean, you know, I do. Maybe Alex shouldn't have gone back there. But do you not think? Aren't there been? What is this obsession with Sheriff Nanos and this man? Just reminds me of Rambo so much. It's like Nanos is like he's challenging my. You know, I'm the King Dick in Pima County. Nobody's going to challenge my authority. This man is challenging my authority, and I'm not having it. I'm going to teach him a lesson. But the thing is, you still need to arrest someone for a reason. Now, they've got a reason now to charge him because he did resist arrest. But he was resisting arrest for what? You know what? And that, as I say, on the mainstream media, they were reporting, one, that the sheriff's deputy, that he had pushed over the sheriff's deputy to the ground, but we could see from that video clearly that sheriff's deputy tripped up. The other thing that they're saying on the mainstream media is that Alex spat on the deputy, and he didn't. He was shouting, and probably some spit did go on the deputies because he was shouting so much, but he didn't deliberately spit at them. So already there are lies being told on mainstream media about this whole thing. Hail, hippie. You're in Phoenix, aren't you? And you're 108 degrees. What do you think about all this? About this arrest of the YouTuber? And what do you think about the tip that Nancy is buried in Mexico? Because I know, you know, your theory was that she probably has gone to Mexico, but they haven't found her. So they've got this tip. As I say, I think that might be Sheriff Nanos himself phoning up and giving a tip that Nancy's in Mexico. Nancy's body's buried in Mexico. Take the heat off him, because the heat's all on Nanos at the moment and arresting these streamers. You know. Anyway, we'll carry on watching, and I'm going to put it on, you know, when it finishes, I'll put it to the beginning. So he's got his I think he's 52, Alex. He's, you know, not in the prime physical health, is he? But, you know, he's a big guy, and it's taken three deputies, to control him. But I think if there's a way of it, you know, they went in there aggressively. When I play it back again in a minute, straight away, you know, they weren't sort of, I think they've been told just go in and get him out as soon as possible. But of course, it's all on video, so this is going to come up in the courtroom as well.
Someone get out here to get my stuff, please. Hey,
Stop
sir.
pulling away. Stop pulling away, bro. Get the,
Dude, my cuffs are on, bro.
relax. Relax.
You relax.
I'm not doing anything.
Then don't tell me to relax. I can speak however I want to, bro. You're no bigger of a human being than I am, bro. Remember that.
Stop putting your face in my face.
I can put my face anywhere I
Spit
want.
on me or catch a charge.
No one spit on you.
Fucking spit on me, dude.
No one spit on you. Shut your mouth, bro. You don't want to talk.
So there you go. That's where, so the little guy there, he is a little guy as well. If he looks even littler next to Alex, anyone would look pretty little next to Alex. He said, "Oh, you spat on me," and he didn't spit on him, but he was shouting, and spit will have gone on him. You know, Alex is getting angry, and he shouldn't do that, I suppose. Might have been better if he would have gone there, and when the police came, just put his hand in handcuffs and said, "Look, I'm being arrested for just being in a public street," you know, making it a more peaceful thing, because he is going to get a charge for resisting arrest, isn't he?
Can I get my stuff?
No.
I can't get my stuff?
No.
Hey, you guys are getting... Get the fuck off my arms! Stop! Stop that! Put me in the car and leave me the fuck alone! Then why are you choosing my arms? You faggot, that dude's doing it.
Now, that is that's another thing that Alex has got into trouble for, because faggot seems to be one of Alex's favourite words. So he also called Brian Entin, the reporter, a faggot, and there's been a big hoo-ha about that. And obviously, that is not a good thing to do. And then he, not only that, he doubled down on it on his video. I watched him addressing that, and he said, "Oh, it's in the dictionary. Deal with it." It's like, he wasn't sorry that he'd called him a faggot, so that won't go in his favour, because obviously it's not good to be calling people faggots, whatever, I don't know. So it's just call the policeman a faggot now. I mean, you couldn't make this up, could you? And this is what this case has got reduced to, though. It's like a circuit. Where's the real sort of information coming out? We've got an anonymous tip that she's buried in Mexico that's turned out nobody's found anything. We've got YouTubers being arrested in a very dramatic way, really, when you think of the crime that they're committing is being there outside on a public street. Just going crazy, isn't it?
You gonna let him do that? Fucking pieces of shit. Every single one of you. I don't know. If any of my shit's missing, you're gonna pay for it, bro. That's all my money. I pay for that.
Julian.
So he's kind of recording his mic, that's why you can hear me at my local breathing. One more time. Yeah, I agree, Julie. This case is a complete mess. Have you ever known a case like it? Personally, I'm not saying I agree with Alex or don't agree with Alex. I agree that he should be able to stand on a public street if he wants to. But I think this is Nanos. Just shows his ego. He's in control. He's controlling this. Nobody else is going to. He's going to extreme lengths and going about it all the wrong way, in my opinion. I'm sure there would have been a better way to deal with it. You could, just let him sit there and do his recordings. He's not like doing anything. Anyway, another thing, of course, that he did, he set up a pee tent so that he could have a pee, because there are some portaloos, I think, around from places where there's building work, but they're not allowed to use them. At the end of the day, Nanos has made it as difficult as possible for anyone to be there. So no parking. The memorial's been removed again. So the Nancy's memorial was removed. Then people started putting flowers back down there. That's gone again. That's been removed again, but we don't know who removed that. And some of the neighbours that are always complaining about streamers, there are lots of neighbours that aren't complaining about it. Oh, and there was this really strange video of two anonymous neighbours, with their identities blocked out, saying, "Oh, this is terrible," and blah blah blah. But who are they, and what about the neighbours that don't mind them being there? It's very surreal, and I think you're right, Julie. This case is a mess because it's become all about something else, and in the middle of it all, Nancy's still.
Put me in the car. Leave me the fuck alone. Then why are you twisting my arms? Faggot, that dude's doing it. You gonna let him do that? Fucking pieces of.
Yeah, so he hasn't done himself any favours by calling them faggots, of course. And so let me know what you think. Do you think they were right to arrest him? What do you think he was right to get angry? It's a real sort of, I'm sort of torn between, obviously I don't like the fact that he's shouting faggot and this, that and the other. But then I sort of agree that why is he being arrested in the first place? So it's a mess. as you say, Julie, is complete mess. It's a circus, the whole case. And you know what? It's a shame. This is, wonder what Nancy would have made of it all. If it would have been one of her neighbours, would she have been one of those people? Hi, Lily. Would Nancy have been one of those people, one of those neighbours who rang up and complained, I wonder? Or do you think Nancy would have been a person who would have said, oh, hang on, he's got a right to stand out there if he wants to? Interesting, isn't it? So we're going to have a look now at Sheriff Nanos talking. Now, Megan Kelly, who's a YouTuber, I don't know a lot about American, but she's subscribers. She's quite right wing. I think there's a lot of things that Megan Kelly, well, you can't agree with people on everything. This is the thing. We can agree with each other on maybe 9 things out of 10, and there may come up one thing that we talk about that we don't agree. But that's same with all. This is where society is now. People with social media, there's a lot more individual opinions, aren't there? Than people can have their say. Within reason, of course. I don't agree with shouting and calling people faggots and stuff like that. That's not free speech. That's being insulting. But, we're in this era. We're in this. It's difficult, isn't it? Where does free speech end and, insulting behaviour start? So that's a whole nother debate for a whole nother video. But anyway, so Megan Kelly in this video, she reacts to she put a montage together, and credit to Megan for this video. She put a montage together of Sheriff Nanos crying during interviews about Nancy Guthrie. I'll leave it to you to decide whether they're genuine tears or not. Personally, I think they're totally performative, crocodile tears. I think Sheriff Nanos, the more I see of him, the more he is a narcissistic psychopath, because he just it's all about him. Fancy a sheriff crying about somebody being kidnapped. He's supposed to be there for the family, be strong. He's not supposed to be sitting there on camera crying, is he? He's a law enforcement officer, he's a sheriff. Anyway, let's watch this video. Just let me make sure it's sharing. I just can't believe it's going on. I haven't seen these videos. We'll watch the whole video. So I hope Megan doesn't mind you sharing her videos. But anyway, we'll see. Put on big screen.
I had noticed the crime strange. I don't think I've ever seen like a cop running an investigation until like something devastating happened. Like I've seen cops, like a child has died and been tortured, come close to breaking down when they have to tell you this is how it's landed. But that's not at all where we are in this case. And this sheriff is giving interviews to everybody and their brother. And as it seems to me to be an affectation, but I'd love to hear your opinion. Watch, we put together a little montage.
What gives you hope that Nancy is still out there?
Wow. You have to have hope. You have to have hope. Come on, this is somebody's mom. We're going to...
Oh my God. I'm sorry. What do you think? Well, you have to have hope. This is all wrong. He didn't even know Nancy. He's a professional. He didn't know her. Why is he crying?
I don't, you know, We just she's out there somewhere.
So you still believe this is an active rescue mission at this point?
We hope so.
I know you've been in contact with Savannah, who we know is in Tucson. What is your message to her, Savannah?
We're not going to give up. We'll get this.
Sheriff, we thank you for your time. I know you're busy, and I'm going to be praying that you find Nancy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Zach, what do you make of that?
I mean, I get it. We're in this era of men are allowed to cry, and we're, dominating.
Oh my God. I hope so. Thank you. As if it was his family member. Hey, old hippie, thank you so much for the super chat. Annie asked Nancy for a loan and was told no. That is one thing that's being said. The thing is, I don't know how we can verify these things. Tommaso was desperate, possibly. Annie and Tommaso, it's a shame if they end up having nothing to do with it, but they are bound to be the suspects just because they were the last ones reportedly to have seen Nancy. So this theory of Annie asking for a loan and being turned down and blah, de, blah, de, blah, it's just as likely as any other theory. Known black exits get cross-border. Vicky, I've always said Nancy was in Mexico. You have always said Nancy was in Mexico. And you know what? She may well be, but we still don't know, do we? That's the thing. We don't know. So this tip that's come in about Nancy being in Mexico and the searches that are being done in Mexico, but nothing's been found. You sort of don't want anything to be found in a way because obviously that confirms that Nancy is dead. But I think we all think now Nancy is dead. And more important now is that she is found and laid to rest with dignity and her family are given some answers. So she may well be in Mexico. And that has been a theory from the beginning. And you, as you say, hippie, you have always said that she was in Mexico. That's been your theory from day one. I know that. And I'm like, I don't really know. Well, I don't know. And my feeling, it's not a theory really, just a feeling that Nancy is closer than Mexico. But, I don't know. I have no idea. And, of course, it could be Annie and Tommaso. I think one thing for certain is whoever took Nancy. My personal theory, this is literally just my opinion, is whoever went in that house that night, they went to take Nancy, or maybe she'd already been taken. Maybe she never arrived home that night. That's what a lot of people think. And maybe they went into the house to stage the scene. I think the whole thing was a staged kidnapping. I don't know that Annie and Tommaso were behind it. I'm not saying that. But somebody knew that house. They were very comfortable around that house. They didn't look nervous. They were aware of the camera, then the thing with the flowers that personally I think all of it was staged. The back doors being propped open. It just doesn't feel like a genuine, authentic kidnapping act to me. It feels like there's more to it. There's definitely more to it. And somebody who's behind it definitely knew Nancy, in my opinion, and knew the house. Could be someone who went to, I don't know, service the pool, or a cleaner or a carer. I'm not saying it was Annie and Tommaso. I don't know who it was. But whoever it was, I think Nancy knew them for one reason or another. And they knew Nancy. And I do think money was at the bottom of it all. I do think money was at the bottom of it all. So. But we don't know for certain. But yeah, very likely she could be in Mexico. It's just up the road. And this tip has come in now that she's been buried there. I hope she's found. I do, honestly. Even deceased is better than this. Can you imagine if we're still talking about this in another 4 months? Then Christmas will be coming up. and we'll still be talking about it. And then it'll be a year, you know, because she was kidnapped at the end of January, wasn't she? She celebrated that last Christmas. There were pictures all over her Facebook, you know, with the family. They were all dressed in identical pajamas. A month later, 4 weeks later, she was gone. Imagine this going on and on. It'd be just horrible, wouldn't it? Anyway, so yeah, thank you for that, old hippie. That's really appreciated. So let's just see what this guy says about this. What do you think about Nanos crying? Do you think? Now, one thing to remember is apparently, wasn't it the day after Nancy disappeared? Didn't Nanos's brother die? So it could be that Nano, you know, if we give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe he's very emotional because he just lost his brother. But he seems extraordinarily emotional to me for a law enforcement officer, a sheriff, to be crying, you know, about this. Just doesn't seem right. Let's see what this guy says. I don't know who he is.
Toxic masculinity, but sometimes we need to bring back a little toxic masculinity, because I don't need the sheriff running this case to be in tears with every interview. If that were my mother that we're missing, and I saw Sheriff going around giving all these interviews rather than, you know, focusing on the investigation, and then crying in every interview, as much as like, okay, yeah, I have a little compassion for you, but I feel like the family would be deeply troubled by this. Me as just, you know, a member of the public viewing this and seeing him in tears just doesn't ring of much professionalism. It seems like he's in over his head. He's either performing these tears or, you know, he's way too invested.
Yeah, it's not good, you know. As he says, if you were the family, strong, and we're going to solve this. Yeah, you would want the policeman in charge. You know, the law enforcement officer in charge, you'd want them to be professional and cool. And you can be empathetic without crying, you know. He's a professional. It's very strange, but it could be that he was emotional because of his brother dying. Let's watch it one more time, but let me know what you think.
Of the interviews he did, I was like, that's very strange. I don't think I've ever seen like a cop running an investigation until like something devastating happened. You know, like I've seen cops, like a child has died and been tortured, come close to breaking down when they have to tell you this is how it's landed. But that's not at all where we are in this case. And this sheriff is giving interviews to everybody and their brother. Yeah. And as it turns out, he's been crying like on a dime. And it seems to me to be an affectation, but I'd love to hear your opinion. Watch, we put together a little montage.
What gives you hope that Nancy is still out there?
Wow. You have to have hope. You have to have hope. Come on, this is somebody's mom. We're gonna find her. You know, we're just not gonna give up hope. We hope she's out there somewhere.
So you still believe this is an active rescue mission at this point?
We hope so.
I know you've been in contact with Savannah, who we know is in Tucson. What is your message to her and the Guthrie family and all the viewers who care so much about Savannah?
We're not going to give up. We'll get this.
Sheriff, we thank you for your time. I know you're busy, and I'm going to be praying that you find Nancy.
Streamers.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, Zach, what do you make of that?
I mean, I get it. We're in this era of men are allowed to cry, and we're toxic masculinity, because I don't need the sheriff running this case to be in tears with every interview. If that were my mother that we're missing, and I saw Sheriff.
Yeah, and it's true. It's not toxic masculinity to be professional, is it? You expect law enforcement to be. Imagine the FBI guy coming on and bursting into tears as he's trying to get an interview. So this Sheriff Nanos is too busy arresting streamers and crying on camera. So yeah, he's been giving interviews left, right, and centre, but not press conferences. He's not done any press conference with the FBI, has he, for ages. He and the FBI are clearly, he can say as often as he wants, oh no, we've always cooperated with the FBI. There's clearly a chasm between the sheriff's department, or the sheriff anyway, and the FBI. So, there you go. You let me know what you think. Let's see if there's anything else. So we've looked at the so regarding the tip, the anonymous tip, which I'd say is probably Sheriff Nanos, making an anonymous tip that Nancy's in Mexico, so take the attention off Pima County, and him arresting the streamer, probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Nothing would surprise me about this guy. Everything he does is ego-driven and performative. It's like very odd. And they rarely release statements. Yes, you're right, old hip. It's so very sad because Nancy is the important thing. Do you see how all this drama, I'm glad that at least it's keeping Nancy Guthrie's name in the media, because we probably, people have stopped talking about her, and at least these things are bringing her name up again. So let me show you this post. At least she's being talked about, and as long as she's being talked about, we feel that something might be happening. So this was the statement that Sheriff Nanos put out. We are aware of reports regarding an anonymous tip related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation that was provided to a group in Mexico. At this time, we have not been contacted by Mexican authorities. This investigation remains active and ongoing, and we will continue to follow up on any credible information. Well, the thing is, if it's gone over the border, that will be the FBI that will deal with it, not the Sheriff's Department, won't it? So it may be, although they've not been contacted by the Mexican authorities, of course, we don't know if the FBI have been contacted or not. There's so much going on, under the surface. So this is what happened. A group that works to locate missing people in Mexico said they received an anonymous tip on Wednesday, claiming that Nancy Guthrie was buried around the border in an unmarked grave. Ramona Guadalupe Ayala Ortiz, head of Buscando Corazones Nogales, said the group carried out an initial investigation of the area provided by the tipster, but the search for Nancy came up empty. We received an anonymous call telling us that the woman, Nancy Guthrie's remains, were in the Mariposa area in a grave over a stream. Well, that really is like looking for a needle in a haystack, isn't it? They can't just dig up the whole area, but I don't know. Oh, and yeah, look at this. Who is removing Nancy's memorial? So, these are things as well that are very important. That could be the perpetrator that's removing the memorial for all we know. See how these neighbours never see anything, do they, when there's other things going on? As soon as the streamer stops outside Nancy's house, the neighbours are on the phone to the police instantly. Somebody comes in the middle of the night or whenever and steals, it is stealing, steals Nancy's memorial. I had messages from lots of people that had Annie's card that she laid down there. Who took it, and where are the things that they took? And then people started laying flowers again, and it was taken again. So who's doing that? Where's the sheriff of Pima County Department when people are doing that? Or when Sue Ellen was putting cactus and stones and dog excrement over the easement? Surely that's a misdemeanor. Why was she not arrested for doing that? She admitted it on camera. It's very odd, isn't it? The whole thing is an odd case. Anyway, some people are still out searching, like they don't go to Nancy Guthrie's house, but they go out. I think it's Dad's Gone Live, that is it, Jacob and Nico. I don't know what the name. Yeah, there's still YouTubers out there searching for her. So all the other YouTubers really have been put off. You know, that's what Nanos wants. You know, people don't want to be arrested, do they? But Alex went out there and put himself out there, and you know, I don't know if he's right, is he wrong, or, but I do think in America, you know, this is America. America prides itself on its freedoms. I think we've learned a lot lately that you're not free if you're in America, even as an American citizen. You're certainly not free if you're from another country. And even if you're an American citizen, you could end up getting shot. We've seen that with the ICE raids and everything, and protests. And Alex was probably lucky not to get shot because they're very gun happy, aren't they? You know, and he was resisting arrest. But you heard him saying, "Why am I being arrested?" And they didn't answer him because what is he going to be? Now he will be charged with resisting arrest. What's the charge? Oh, standing on the public street. That's your charge. So the reason he was being arrested was because Nanos ordered it. That's why. Nanos is a little dictator in his environment, isn't he? And Alex is a citizen of Pima County. He lives in Pima County. So he has the right to stand on a public street if he wants to. As an American citizen, never mind a citizen of Pima County. So it's all a bit odd. But yeah, there's a lot of things with Alex I don't agree with. But, you know, fundamentally, either you believe in freedom or you don't. It can't be, that person's free, but not that one. That person can stand on the street because there was another report. They're parked there doing a report. But that was okay because the report was against Alex, not against Nanos. You can't have that, can you? You're either free or you're not. You know, it can't be that person's free and that one isn't. That person's free to do what they want, but that one can't. Is it a free society or isn't it? You know? Hi, handsome man. Yeah, I agree. I agree up to a point. You know, he was given a ticket for public nuisance, but he wasn't causing a public nuisance. You know, that's the thing. And yeah, you're right. Maybe he should have waited. I personally think when he was arrested, he should have just let them arrest him, filmed it all, and come with them, carried on saying to them, what you arresting me for? But you cannot, you know, just because you don't want that person there, like Nanos doesn't want him there. Not only him, the other two streamers that he arrested. For what? And DA Jude, he does nothing wrong. He sits there very quietly. Doesn't, you know, you went and used a Portaloo once and there was a big hoo-ha about that. You know, this is more important things, in my opinion, going on in Pima County. You know, there's serious crime going on. Well, you know, like an 84-year-old woman being stolen from a bed in the middle of the night. Let's try solving that case instead of just send 3 officers to arrest one man. I think Alex might make a thing of this. You know, I think there's sort of a bolshy part of me that would go back again. But I wouldn't talk to the police like he did. He did get angry with them, but they were roughhousing him, you know. And the one that fell over, he only fell over. Alex didn't push him. You know, we can't have lies spoken. You know, what Alex does wrong, that's fine, and we have to call that out. But you can't make things up. He didn't spit at the police officer, and he did not push the police officer on the floor. and he did ask them what he was being arrested for, and they did not answer him. So I think if anyone's an American citizen out there, what you have to remember is that could be you. If you happen to be in a situation one day that the sheriff of your county just doesn't agree with what you're doing, not because it's against the law. Standing in public street is not against the law. It's just a very and I understand some people don't agree with what I said as well, but you have to think, well, are we free or aren't we? I think that's if he was standing there saying, oh look, Sheriff Nanos is a brilliant sheriff, he's doing this really well, leave him alone, I'm all for Sheriff Nanos, would he have been arrested?